Hello everybody, my name is Karryshh and welcome back to another recap video. This time it's the latest Indonesian horror movie Dance of Death. It's about four college students who return to a village for an award ceremony only to discover that they're being chased by something vicious. It was a fun watch, so stick till end. On top of that, if you're new here, then make sure to hit that subscribe button and like this video, cause that's how I grow and keep coming with new videos. Now sit back and relax as I recap Dance of Death. So the movie begins in Magansari village in 2015. Four men were enjoying the dance of a Ronggang dancer, which is a traditional social dance in Indonesia. The four were intoxicated and the dancer was named Sulastri. Sulastri had a fiancé, Imam, who was waiting for Sulastri outside the hotel. Obviously, he knows about her very important job. Now this town had a town's freak, Winsao, who comes to bother Imam. Actually, Winsao used to think that Sulastri is his future wife. Imam scared the freak away, but then the lights go out. To check Sulastri, Imam go inside the hotel where someone attacked him. Scene goes 7 years later in 2022, where we meet with Larasati and her boyfriend Hadi. Today is Larasati's last school day, so they were celebrating it as a scribble day. Hadi signs Larasati's shirt and then he gives her an expensive watch. Larasati goes home, but on her way, she tripped on something. That something was a strap. And that strap was really long that it took Larasati deep into the woods near a well. At the end of it, Larasati finds a shawl, which is a piece of fabric used by many Asian women every day. There was also a radio, but we also witnessed some black, evil stuff coming out of that well and moving toward Larasati. Larasati reaches home with that stuff and she was happy after finishing her school. She then checks the shawl and radio. There was a tape inside the radio, but it wasn't playing. She changes the battery and then her mother, Alicia, calls her for dinner. Alicia already knew about Hattie and actually she wanted her daughter to get married with him. That was cause Alicia is sick and she can die anytime. We find out that in this village, dancing is really appreciated and all the girls learn dancing from a woman named Manur, except Larasati. Not that she didn't want to, but she just can't make her body move. She was a really bad dancer, but her mother wanted her to become like Sulastri, meaning the dancer from 2015 was really famous in this village. Alicia brings the dancing shawl and she forces her daughter to dance, but when she did dance, she was just horrible in it. Alicia leaves in dismay, and then at night, Larasati was again checking the radio when she notices that she had lost the watch Hattie gave her. It fell near that well, and since that thing was important, Larasati goes to find it late at night. Larasati finds the watch near the well, but when she was going back home, she heard a voice from inside the well. She goes to check it, but inside of that well, there was just smelly water and nothing else. Now when Larasati was sleeping, something happened, and the red shawl she found slithered on its own like a snake. The radio plays a song and the shawl gets to Larasati. Soon Alicia wakes up hearing some turmoil in her daughter's room, and when she checked, she was left with a gaping mouth after seeing Larasati dancing like a professional. Seeing her daughter dance like that, Alicia was extremely happy and then she pulled her into a hug. Larasati then suddenly wakes up not remembering what just happened. Now the next day, Alicia takes Larasati to Manur, the dance teacher, and she tells her that my daughter is an excellent dancer and she can replace Sulastri. Larasati was hella embarrassed because she had no clue what happened last night. Listening to Alicia, Manur gave Larasati the dance floor and she was forced to dance. Alicia gave her daughter a normal shawl, and then when she danced, obviously the dance was horrible and it made Manur frown and she left. But then Alicia thought that there's something in that red shawl, so she gave her daughter the red shawl and suddenly something happened to Larasati. Larasati began to dance and she danced and broke the floor. Everyone was shocked, especially Manur, because Manur sees that Larasati is dancing exactly like Sulastri, and it means the shawl and radio belongs to Sulastri. Manur stops the dance and asks Larasati about that shawl and where did she get it from. And here we find out that Manur was actually the mother of Sulastri. and that's why she knew that the shawl belonged to her daughter. It was then that possessed Laura Saji hugs Manur and said, "Mother, I'm inside the well. Help me." Laura Saji then fainted, but seeing all that, Manu knew something really bad happened to her daughter. Meanwhile, Alicia was just happy to see her daughter dance like that. After all this, Manu mourns her daughter and remembers the day when she gave her that red shawl. Manu then goes out in the storm to that well and she finds her daughter's clothes inside of that well, but her body was long gone. Manu then knew that someone murdered Sulastri and she had a pretty great idea who. Manu then was about to leave that place when suddenly Sulastri's spirit paid her mother a visit. After meeting her daughter, Manu goes to meet with Mato, the village chief, and she tells him that Sulastri didn't run away with her husband, but someone murdered her, and she exactly knows who it is. Next day, Manu and Mato showcases Larasati's dance skill to the villagers. She performed near a windmill and then she became the new best dancer of the village. Obviously, she was possessed the whole time, but she still had control over her body. Alicia was extremely happy and Hadi was worried. However, behind all this, there was a scheme. Manu and Mato now sought revenge, and we find out that 7 years ago, 4 friends came to this village on an internship, and they were the ones who built this windmill. Sulastri was dancing for him before the night she disappeared along with her fiancé, and now everyone was sure that those 4 friends are behind the murder. Scene goes on the 4 friends named Aditya, Yuji, Ricky and Aksan. The 4 were on their way back to the village because the chief invited them for an award ceremony related to that windmill. On their way, they hit something with their car, but when they checked, nothing was there, which was strange. Then the freak Vinsao came to scare them, and after following the freak, they all reached the village where the chief welcomed them all. Macho welcomes and introduces everyone to everyone important. And then we can see that the 4 friends are kinda anxious when they find out that they will live in that same hotel until the ceremony tomorrow night. Hadi, who's also the chief's son, together with Larasati, escorts those friends to the hotel. The friends were making offensive jokes about this village and they were not good guys. When they enter the hotel, they remember the past. In the past, we see Sulastri who was dancing for the friends and everyone was enjoying. It really wasn't a scene where one could expect murder. Everything was normal and happy. After that party, the next day, Aditya came out of his room totally terrified cause his hands were covered in blood. He woke Yuji up, who screamed after seeing the blood. The 2 panicked, but then they witnessed a trail of blood on the floor that led them outside into a shed where Yuji and Aditya found Ricky and Aksan cleaning blood from themselves and from the floor. Ricky then commands them to clean up and help, and the dead bodies of Sulastri and Imam were wrapped in bags. None of the 4 friends knew how it all happened, but someone killed people while they all were intoxicated. That was why, to save themselves, they decided to get rid of those bodies. Back in present, the 4 settles in the hotel and then Aditya asks Yuji about the person who murdered Sulastri, but Yuji had no idea or interest. He did not want to look back into the past. All 4 just had the intention of receiving that award and leave. After dinner, Aksan goes in that shed, but there he finds blood. The blood takes him near the tub, where the red shawl grazed against his skin from above before it disappeared, and then suddenly, an invisible force tried to drown him in the water. Somehow Aksan escaped and the blood and the water disappeared. But then Aksan found a badge inside the tub and it shocked him because the badge was on Sulastri when she died. Now with chit chats, we find out that Aditya is soon getting married and to call her fiancé, he's going to a nearby mountain to find signal in his phone and Yuji goes with him. Meanwhile, Aksan showed Ricky that badge and told him that he found this badge where he found Sulastri's body. Back in the past, we see Aksan was up in the morning first, and when he went into the bathroom, he found Sulastri's dead body inside the bathtub. After that, Aksan showed that body to Ricky and the two began to think that someone murdered her last night, but they were not sure who did it. And it was the time that Sulastri lost her badge. Meanwhile, at the mountain, Yuji and Aditya were talking about the murders, and they concludes that it was Ricky who murdered Sulastri because that night he wanted to sleep with her but she rejected him. On the other hand, Axen and Ricky concludes that it was either Aditya or Yuji who murdered Sulastri because the badge Sulastri had, same badge was on Yuji and Aditya too, and one of them gave their badge to Sulastri. On the mountain, Aditya couldn't call his fiancée because that freak game scares the friends, which ends up with Aditya breaking his bone. Then Aditya and Yuji attacked on the freak and they fell down the valley and landed straight near that well. The two were creeped from the past memories of this place and reaching the past where all four friends brought the bodies near this well, and then Yuji and Aditya throw the bodies inside the well on Ricky's command. Now the scene goes at a village ceremony where Manur was dancing for Lara Sati, who's being given the name of wrong gang dancer of this village. It was a big night, but in the end, Manur gives that red shawl to Lara Sati, and when she wears it, Sulastri's spirit takes over her instantly. Lara Sati now starts her dance and she was absolutely remarkable. But from the bushes nearby, Aditya and Yuji saw her. The two were shocked because she was dancing exactly like Sulastri. Then came Hadi and tell those two to leave because the ceremony is just for the villagers. Scene goes on Ricky, who was asleep when that red shawl touches him and wakes him up. He then sees Lara Sati, who dances for him, and she kind of hypnotized him with her beauty and made him follow her dancing in a room. Suddenly, the windows and doors shuts themselves and Lara Sati just keeps on dancing around him. She throws that shawl around Ricky's neck and then suddenly she turns into an evil Sulastri and uses that shawl to strangle him. She throws him on the bed and then started choking him, but in the end time, the other three friends break into the room and they wake up Ricky by throwing a bucket of water on him. They then put Ricky on bed. And this incident kinda shivered their soul into thinking that maybe Sulastri is taking revenge. Here Axen blames the murder on Aditya and Yuji and showed them the badge he found. However, Aditya blames the murder on unconscious Ricky. Everyone had their reasons and it turns into a fight between Axen and Aditya. Yuji breaks the fight and just tells them to focus on the award and go home. Next day, Hadi and Lara Sati come to the breakfast with four friends, and Lara Sati wanted them to show the windmill they built, but everyone was rather quiet. The friends declined the invitation and they even talk about going home without the award. Since Lara Sati was under the influence, she smiles and shouts in a really creepy way, forbidding the friends from leaving. The friends agreed to creepy Lara Sati and then she took Yuji and Aditya to windmill together with Hadi. After sightseeing, Yuji and Aditya were going home, and since the villagers are too good towards the friends, Yuji suggests that they should tell him the truth, which upsets Aditya and he leaves Yuji alone to rethink. That night was the award ceremony, but in the name of award, the friends were given certificates, which was disappointing for them. The four were actually expecting money, but they didn't get a penny. Afterward, Lara Sati and Manur gave the four men a special drink to drink, and everyone drinks that except Aditya. Aditya doesn't drink it because he knew that there was something in it. Actually, you see, in the morning, Aditya overheard Hadi's and Macho's conversation. The two were talking about how they were going to sacrifice the people who murdered Sulastri. Aditya then knew that the villagers know, and that was why he didn't drink. But he intentionally didn't tell his friends about it. After the drinks, Lara Sati dances for him on the stage. But soon, whatever was in those drinks kicks in and Yuji, Ricky and Axen gets a blurry vision. Suddenly the three start seeing evil Sulastri dancing on the stage instead of Lara Sati. And then the three fainted. Now Aditya was well and good, but the villagers did not make a fuss about him, but there was a reason behind it. Actually, after overhearing Macho and Hadi, Aditya went to talk to him and he confessed to what happened, but obviously he told a fib to save himself. Aditya told Hadi and Macho that it was Axen and Ricky who murdered Sulastri and then Imam 7 years ago, and those two threatened to kill Aditya too if he didn't keep his mouth shut. Telling the lie, Aditya cleared his and Yudi's path, but he still didn't stop Yudi when he drank that drink. Anyway, after that, Aksan and Ricky were taken away by the villagers and they wrapped their bodies in bags. Meanwhile, Yudi was left near that windmill. Now something happens and the spirit of those three enter the spirit realm, where Sulastri will now take her revenge. Now first, Yuji wakes up and he sees that freak dancing near him when suddenly the freak turns into Sulastri. Meanwhile, Aksan and Ricky wakes up in a dense forest where Sulastri comes and scare him to hell. Aksan hears a really loud noise coming from that radio, which burst his eardrums, but it gave pleasure to Sulastri. Near Windmill, Sulastri now takes Yudi in her control and she made him dance with her against his will. Meanwhile, in the real world, when Aditya see the villagers sacrificing his friends, he ran to save his life. Back in the spirit world, Aksan finds that radio and he breaks it, but then he witnessed the beauty of Sulastri, who was dancing above that well. Sulastri lures Aksan towards that well, which ends with him falling into it. On the other hand, Yudi and Sulastri were dancing, but soon Sulastri turns into a menace and she starts strangling Yudi with her shawl. The one remaining was Ricky, and evil Sulastri was scaring him to hell with continuous jump scares. Ricky runs for his life, but he trips, and then evil Sulastri crawls towards him to end his life. Ricky ran and ran and ran, and then he finds a bicycle, which he uses to escape but ends up crashing it into the well and falling unconscious. Back on the windmill, Sulastri hangs Yudi on that windmill using that shawl, and then she pushed him into a big wooden queue type thing. It impaled his body, and then as the windmill rotates, it put pressures on him, and then at one point, his body splits into many pieces, which makes Sulastri really happy. After a while, Ricky wakes up near that well, but as he got on his feet, Sulastri came up from that well, scares him, and he fell on his broken bicycle, which killed him. However, all this happened in the spirit world because actually, Yudi, Aksan, and Ricky were already dead in the real world. The next day, we see their bodies, and actually their drinks were poisoned last night, and the villagers now throw their bodies in that well, completing their revenge. Manur thinks she brought her daughter justice, but then the possessed Larasati speaks and declares that the murderer is still alive. Scene goes 2 months later where Aditya gets married to a woman named Ayu, but that wasn't it. Actually, possessed Larasati was dancing in his wedding. She was there with Hadi and it was a present for Aditya, but obviously that dance makes him uncomfortable. After the marriage, Aditya and Ayu were going to have sex when Aditya gets flashes of his past, and finally, now we will find out what really happened to Sulastri. In the past, during the party, all three friends fell asleep except Aditya, and when he saw the woman dancing, he got aroused enough that he started forcing himself on Sulastri. Sulastri tried stopping him, but it only enraged him even more. He beats up Sulastri and tried doing bad things with her, and actually he was successful in doing that. Now as Aditya remembers this suddenly, his wife turned into Sulastri and she started kissing him aggressively. This scared the hell out of him and he pushed his wife away and falls off the bed. He tried to get away, but evil Sulastri crawled down the bed and then crawled towards him. She then attacked on Aditya, but Aditya pushed her away and he picked up a flower vase. He then used the flower vase and beat it against evil Sulastri's skull, and the same thing happened in the past. Actually, in the past, Aditya used the radio to break Sulastri's skull until she died, and now in present, Aditya's spine shivered as he discovered that he had actually murdered his wife with that vase, and there was blood everywhere. It was really creepy. Seeing her wife's dead body, Aditya lost his mind, and meanwhile in the past, we see that after he killed Sulastri, he murdered Imam as well, and then he took their bodies out in the shed where Aksan found him. Aditya even rubbed the blood on all his friends, so the next morning when everyone will wake up, no one could tell who's the murderer. So it was all Aditya's evil plan. Now in the present, Aditya runs from her dead wife. Soon her body was discovered by the party guests, and meanwhile we see Manu, who was chanting a spell. Obviously the spell helped in the final step of revenge, and Aditya ended up unaliving himself by the stairs. Finally, so last we got her justice, and the movie ends here. So this was the recap video on the movie Dance of Death, and I hope you have liked it. If you have, then please subscribe the channel and like this video. I really need your support to grow further. If you wanna watch this movie, there's a link to my Telegram channel where I share movie links every now and then. So go subscribe there. I'm mostly active on Insta, so you can follow me there as well. And look into my other channels where we discuss about the mysteries of the world. All the links are in the description box. But now I see you all in the next one. Till then, stay awake, cause they always see you.